Hey Scorpio, I'm going to do a quick energy check-in for the period of the new moon in Capricorn. I'm a bit late to the game, so it's actually going to be for the period of about a week's out from said new moon. Scorpio, this is going to be for Sun, Moon, Rising, Scorpio. I'm going to do this a little differently than past readings for those of you who are returning. It's going to be a little academic at first, and then I'm going to do the intuitive part afterwards. Whee! Oh dear. Scorpio, what's going on? Sorry, I don't want to get ahead of myself. But yeah, so if this reading does resonate with you, please do hit the like button, subscribe, and drop a comment if you feel so moved. All right, let's get into this. So Scorpio, we're going to do a Celtic cross. What this deals with is we've got some Nine of Swords energy here, and this is in your situation. So the reading will sort of deal with this energy. This talks about sleepless nights, a lot of anxiety. There's a sense of being up in your head, really up in your head about something. Swords energy is mental energy. Sorry, there are cats in the background. You can hear a lot of that. And it has to do, what's crossing you is the World card. The World card is an end of a cycle. It is sort of a very transformative period. Sorry, that's a little... and it's, you know, sort of, you know, going through the birthing canal a little bit, that kind of end of a cycle. And, you know, so you're going to be reborn again. And that period is sort of... it can be painful, you know, and so no wonder some of this energy here, no wonder you're up in your head about something. So it's major arcana again, so it's something that's a big deal. It's a big deal to you. It's, you know, on the four corners are the fixed signs too, so it might have to do with one of the fixed signs. You're here too. You're one of the fixed signs. So those are Aquarius, Taurus, Leo, and Scorpio. So it could be have to do with one of those signs. Doesn't have to be though, but you know, moreover, you're coming up very strong here at the center of your reading because you are represented in this card, Scorpio. But again, the world has to do with the end of a cycle, a major end and a major end of a cycle for you that is causing a lot of internal anxiety, head stuff. At the root of you is the Page of Cups in reverse. And so we have, you know, the Page of Cups in the upright is a message of love, a message of creativity, you know, a message of whimsy. There's a lot of youthful vibrance to this offer, or this message really, you know, and, you know, a lot of heartfelt offerings, you know. In the reverse, that's sort of frustrated. And so if this is at the root of your situation, it could be that there's some sort of, you know, frustration in the way that you are coming forward or able to come forward, or how someone's coming forward to you. You know, again, the Page is a messenger. It's not a very, he's underdeveloped. It's not a very developed communicator. And so at the root of this issue, and what's causing this this ending, or this sense of ending, and the sense of anxiety, could be just some bogged down, emotionally charged communication. And in your recent past is going to be, well, more of the same a little bit. And so we've got the Knight of Cups in reverse. Sorry, I don't mean to crack jokes because it's kind of a little not great. You know, I can see the frustration here, and so the Knight, you know, is just talking about the furthering of this page level, you know, frustrated communication, kind of growing up to the Knight's level. And so the Knights are messengers. Sorry, they are messengers, but they're actual offers too. And a little bit the page is the same. They kind of come with the same idea where they're both offering their, the sense of their element. In this case, it's cups, and cups is emotion. And, oftentimes it's just, something from the heart space, something really heartfelt. And that for that reason, it can also be, a level of creativity, like you're making an offer to, let's create something together. And the page level, it's, it's just at its nascence, it's just begun, or it's a little it's underdeveloped. Well, the Knight grows it up a little bit, and so now, like, perhaps, you just keep trying. And so this is it. So if this is what was at the root, it just never really germinated and became, something that rooted well in the emotional space. And so what happened was that it came, as it progressed, it stayed in this frustrated state, it seems to be. So the Knight of Cups, just to clarify, because I did say I was going to be more academic about this, I do get ahead of myself, sorry. But the Knight is graduated in the sense where now it's an offer. It's an offer of love. It's an offer of creativity. It's often called, a knight in shining armor, right? Quite literally. He's Prince Valiant, or it's sort of, somebody comes in to save the day, is the energy of the Knight of Cups. But again, in the reverse, this is, this energy is now frustrated. It could also mean that it's delayed, and whereas it was underdeveloped before, what ends up happening is that, things that, you want to put forth in earnest, or somebody did, or, it's been frustrated, so that's in your recent past. And let's see. So, for some of you, this is going to be a relationship reading. It doesn't have to be. These are general readings, so it's going to be a little different for everybody. These relationships can be romantic, but they can also be platonic or professional. When I say coming from the heart space, or, when we're talking about cups, emotional stuff, yes, it can be love and, in the sort of traditionally romantic sense, but we can also be talking about things that, where we resonate with other people, from the heart space, something we're really passionate about, at work, partnerships where we're, creating something, we're all in it, with the same energy. Jeez Louise, these people are all upside down. It's, I just want to make that clear because, these are general. I don't do just love readings. And I think it's important to point out that, there can be love in your work. So there, I said it. So what's crowning you is the Page of Swords in reverse. The Page of Swords energy, again, is this sort of young, perhaps underdeveloped energy, but the swords has to do with information, data. It has to do with being it has to do with communication. It also has to do with curiosity and observation. Sometimes this is, sort of reconnaissance, reviewing, those types of energies. And in the reverse, once again, it's frustrated or delayed. And so this is sort of what's, what's crowning you, the energy of that's crowning you in your situation is that there's a lot of surveying going on. There's a lot of watching. There's not a whole lot of, and the communication that is happening is frustrated. It's underdeveloped as it is, and so it's sort of not coming together. And so it's no wonder that it's causing a lot of anxiety but the good news is I think the World cards points to a positive direction because, you're going to go through again, the birthing canal. And so this is, there's a sense of rebirth on the other side of this. And so we're just in this really kind of bogged down energy right now. Sorry, I mean, I have big reactions when these cards come out. The Tower is in your near future, and there is such a thing as a positive tower. So I think what this is ramping up to mean is that the Tower is a sort of a sudden disruption, let's just say. Look, the card sort of depicts, exactly what's going on, and this Tower is being felled by an act of God. So it's something that you don't see coming. It's something that happens unexpectedly, and the paradigm that existed before crumbles. So this is a necessary step on the fool's journey, so to speak, and it feels negative, it feels disruptive, and people are really freaked out about this card. But tower moments are great, because what it often points to is that paradigm was not sturdy enough to stand, and it needed to come down. So the tower always needs to fall. It always speaks to something that's that's ready to go, but you might be holding it up so tenaciously that that it's causing so much burden, it's causing so much stress that like you just need to let it fall, and so something does it for you, and so positive tower moments too can just be something that comes out of the blue, some information, some unexpected thing. I should mention also, Scorpio, that this is your energy is represented here too. Your Scorpio's energy is in both the Death card but also the Tower card. You have in you you're represented by the Phoenix in this on the World card. You are all about transformation. It's sort of like an inevitability for you. You have to, and so you are suited best for these tower moments, I believe. So that's also kind of going for you. And again, I think tower moments are just generally positive, because on the other side of them, again, it's the birthing canal. There's light. And newness, and the ability to start again, and the ability to, you don't necessarily have to clean slate it, but it's just something that, whether this is, what it points to as well as your situation, sort of a paradigm shift, something, some concept, some idea, it could be a relationship, it could be, a way you were moving through your work, something is, basically, by virtue of these sort of frustrated communications, weirdly, it leads you to this moment of sudden and great shift. So that's what's on the but it truly is. What represents you is the Chariot. So the Chariot is a card of victory. So, again, there's such a thing as a positive tower, positive tower moments, and you are actually in. I think you make the tower happen, frankly, because this is your energy. Your energy is very, it's fierce. It's very like you just have your eye on the prize, and you're just going to move forward with wild abandon. The Chariot is also it's represented by Cancer, so you might be dealing with a Cancer, but this is in your position, so this has to do with you and your energy. And it does have, because I mentioned that it's a water sign, and like you are as well, by the way, but there's a great deal of emotion that comes with this card. So it's not just victory, blam, I won it. It's a really emotional victory for you, and that's the feeling that you're standing in right now. You feel really emotionally fulfilled, and you're driving forward or moving away, for that matter. This is a sort of, the Chariot is a vehicle, and so there is that motion implied, but the Sphinxes are sort of here poised and ready to go, but they're not in motion. So it's also a card of great intent, like you're just sort of like built up with this, all of this potential energy that's just ready to pop and go kinetic. So after this tower falls, like something else is sort of bubbling inside and kind of getting prepared, and prepared for what? A victory. This is really great energy with the Chariot in your environment. in your environment, I'm getting ahead of myself every time. So in your environment is the Six of Pentacles, and so there's a real balance, give and take. Six of Pentacles is a card of charity, in the sense of either, you know, being wealthy enough to give charity, or, you know, needing to be on the other side of said charity. Again, it is a card of give and take, a card of balance. It is Pentacles, so it's earth energy. This is your environment, and so there's you know, amidst all of this upheaval is this sense of balanced give and take, you know, as well, of reciprocity. So whatever's happening on the inside is not disrupting what's going on the outside. There's sort of this feeling of like, you know, while all of this is going on and you're perhaps having these sleepless nights, there's this sort of like work a day sort of feeling with this, you know, we're just doing our thing. You know, that's just a feeling I get. That's what's coming through, but that's not what this card means outright. But there is, you know, the scales are represented here, and it talks about there being balance, material, in the material sense in your world. Your resources are looking good. Everyone's taken care of. Oh, so Judgment in reverse popped out with the Empress. Do I read them together? Yeah, it's interesting because it's your hopes and fears, and so that should guide, you know, sort of like what. So, and they're both in the reverse, so that's interesting. So the Judgment card is in reverse, speaks to a deep inner calling. You know, it's your life calling, it's your life mission, but you know, it's an inner calling, you know, something. And the Empress in reverse is the Empress is Libra and Taurus energy, Venus. It's creation, it's creativity, it's fertility, it's birth of new ideas, and it's birth. You know, it's again, you know, the most supreme and exalted representation of the divine feminine here on earth. It is feminine energy. The gender doesn't really matter, though. You know, at the same time, it does speak to, you know, these are pretty big ideas. Both of them are major arcana, and being in your hopes and fears position, you know, I think it's talking. Oh, and they were both in reverse. As I was saying, for some of you, it's going to be that there's you really, you know, you really want to be a mother, and you're afraid that and that it's your divine calling, and that and that's you're hoping for that. And for others of you, there's a really big deal life calling that is speaks deeply to your heart and soul, that is deeply creative, and it being in your hopes and fears position, it just speaks to, it's that idea that it's like, you know what you want, it's a big deal, it means so much to you, and it's in your hopes and fears, like you hope for it and you're afraid of not getting it, frankly, you know, that's or not being able to achieve it or arrive at it. And I think that's what a lot of this up in your head energy has to do with. You know, you are by all rights super fierce, and like, you know, you have all of, you know, the resources here, but I think what goes on, well let's flip out our outcome before we see. I got ahead of myself. I can't seem to keep it academic for some reason. It's just hard to say, but these guys came out and I can't deny it, even though I'm trying to keep shuffling. But your outcome is the Moon and the Five of Wands. Okay. They came out together. So the Moon this is a really, you know, it's sort of a Scorpio reading. What can I say? And with all the love in my heart, I say that. But you are intense and mysterious, and so is the Moon. The Moon is mystery. It's things kept in shadow. It's the stuff that you don't see, and so it being in your outcome. We'll get further clarifiers on this. It speaks to, you know, things being, you know, I keep on saying, wanting to say, Captain Mystery, this feeling of things that you can't know. And, isn't that the way? Like, you don't know what you don't know. You can't know what, those things are. And yet we have to move through the darkness and use our best instincts. And the dogs, the animals on here are all sort of indicative to me of instinctual natures, instinctual behavior that's required by navigating under moonlight. Again, in moonlight, most things are kept in shadow, and so you're having to navigate by the glint of light being cast on certain things, and even those things seem a little distorted. But using your intelligence, your best intelligence, you can extrapolate from those things and find a way. And that's a beautiful thing. And I will say that the moon for me also represents a level of romance. So for some of you, that's going to resonate. You do get the Five of Wands alongside it, and this is healthy competition, I like to say. It's a sense of sparring. It is conflict. For some of you, just in general, this is a card of conflict, of competition, of healthy competition. Could be petty minds. It could be a lot of egos bumping into each other. Five is a card of change, a number of change. It's wands energy, so it's fire. It could represent a fire sign. So that's the academic side of it. So what we're talking about here, the moon, by the way, is represented by Pisces, so you might be dealing with the Pisces in your outcome. So that's what we got going on here. All right, let's kind of pull back here because I did get ahead of myself, and let's do the... I couldn't help but begin interpreting right away because these cards are so intense, but I wouldn't expect less from a Scorpio reading. But not to make a cliche out of you guys. Sorry. So, like I said, we don't have to spend too much time here because I think we kind of said it all. But a lot of you, this deals with something that's causing you a great deal of anxiety because it's a closure of something, and, because it's crossing you, we can also say that it might feel like unfinished business. Something's coming to a close, but you don't have all the information. Why? Because things, sort of got frustrated along the way. You were coming from like a really earnest heart space, but suddenly that information got bogged down and it kept going. And it graduated to the Knight's level, and now you're trying to offer something, and yet it's kind of coming out pear-shaped because it's or there are delays in getting a reaction or a response or something that you need in order to move forward in this situation. What's the situation? It's something that needs to complete. It's something that needs to complete and go to the next level for some of you because, the world is, again, sort of the birthing canal, and that's sort of, a bit of a level up, or something that just you need to release, be able to release in order to move forward and to your next level, something that you need to like put behind you. That's what we're dealing with here because it's causing it's on your mind all the time, and there's all this sort of frustrated communication. And at the top, crowning you is just a sense of surveillance, and or surveying, or there's curiosity implied with that, and there's observation implied with that. There's also with the Page of Swords, but again, Page of Swords in reverse, more underdeveloped and frustrated communication as well. And all of this sort of like being kind of collected in the miasma is leading to this tower moment where like it just can't, the walls aren't made of firm enough stuff, it's just got to crumble, and it's something that you've been trying to like keep up or keep going perhaps, but out of nowhere something happens that just sort of like lets the whole thing crumble down, and by all rights it's a really good thing. It's a positive thing because it just lets you come forward, in a really strong way. Like you emerge out of this tower, like just imagine like, you know, you're just that you know, the badass in the action movie where like the big explosion happens and you're just like, you know, like going away from the explosion, you know what I'm saying, and just unscathed, you know. I should mention that the chariot it depicts, I can't remember what the exact story is, but somebody was telling me that the chariot is going away from a city where people used to go in order to rehab or something, you know, like back in, let's just say it's like the plague days, but, or, you know, it was for a very varied reasons, you know. It wasn't plague, it was actually like, you know, if they were misfitted somehow because of crimes they had committed, and, you know, it wasn't enough to convict or, you know, murder them basically, but they were exiled for rehabilitation to a particular type of town, and so the victorious chariot ride away from that town is that this person is rehabilitated, that they're reborn. And so that kind of like, you know, goes with this sort of energy where it's like you emerge from this completely rehabilitated out of this situation. It's sort of the falling of this tower is exactly what you needed, you know, because you were just exhausting yourself holding up those walls. And then, you know, meanwhile, back at base camp, everything's just totally cheery, you know, it's all balanced. This tower, as big as it was for you on the inside, did not disrupt anything on the outside. In your environment, the balance is still struck, and there's a sense of give and take. You know, the money is flowing, you know, where it needs to go, as it should, as it ought to, and yeah, your material world is, by all rights, yeah, it looks good. It's funny because it's like around all of these, you know, it's not, you know, what the card means per se, but it's just this feeling of, you know, again, meanwhile at camp, everything's it's just fine, you know, everything's fine, doing what as it ought to. On the surface, everything is just, you know, but inside is this storm, you know, and I think that's just what happens sometimes, right? And again, your hopes and fears, you've got like this life calling thing at the heart of you, moving you forward. And maybe that's why, you know, this feels like such a big deal, because it's attached to, you know, something that is very near and dear to you. And again, with the Empress showing up, some of you, it is going to be, you know, building a family, and you know, and quite literally motherhood, feeling like that's frustrated, and for others of you, it's going to be that it's something that you're working on and wanting to create is, you know, that's what you fear being affected by this. But you know, but by all rights is, you know, you've got this, everything's sort of going totally fine in the 3D, but then your outcome, there's a sense of mystery and conflict. It's a sense of, let's get more clarification on that. Page of Wands. Oh, Three of Wands. Let's do these over here. Yeah, it's like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Well, oh, well, bottom of the deck energy is victory card, victory, and so Six of Wands is sort of like the mini chariot in concepts. You know, this is a clear victory that, but it implies a battle that went before. So there's that. Okay, so, you know, this energy up here with the moon and the Five of Wands is really speaking to, in terms of an outcome, whatever. You emerge from this tower situation really fierce, and, you know, I think imbued with a new sense of confidence. I mean, the Chariot card speaks to, you know, somebody who's, imbued with a level of confidence out of a sort of a gladiator, you know, that's really, it's interesting because it is, you know, has to do with so much emotion coming with it, but it's this sort of determination. There's a determination, that's what it is, that comes with the Chariot. And so you move forward on something that is, you know, quite frankly, like you consider your life's calling, and you're just going to go get it. And I think you know, it starts to ruffle some feathers. You know, for some of you, you're dealing with other people, other egos. Whether this is in a work environment or if it's relationship or relationships, you know, something happens that that causes a sense of competition, and the moon energy is sort of calling to me about a level of distrust that, you know, maybe people are sort of handling you in a way because you come forward with such a newfound determination that's like they don't know who you are anymore. Like, and perhaps it's something they're not used to coming from you. You know, I say this as, you know, if this is... this happens all the time. If it's a workplace and you get a promotion and all of a sudden you're like, you have to be behaving more like a boss, you know, and that gets in the way for people, you know, or they can't quite make the adjustment. So it brings this energy. So for some of you, you know, where this is all happening in the workspace, I think there's a couple of things happening here, to be honest. You know, I feel like you've got a really heavy internal world happening, and then there's this external world where like you're keeping pace just fine, but it is tied in. It does affect you. Like, I think that there's sort of like this interesting turn of the tides, and you know, the moon, I think, speaks to that too. There's a turn of tides here. That's what this is. And it's very subtle, and it's happening, you know, on the inside for the most part, you know, and so maybe some of this energy is just sort of you battling it out with yourself as you steer the ship in a different tact. You know, again, if it's vocational or if it's in relationship or relationships, or, you know, in this sort of feels vocational, but again, like there's also, like, I think that you're just going through a big, there's these over here. You're just going through a big sea change. And it just feels like going through the birthing canal. And it's an inevitability, but this is uncomfortable. That's all I see. That's all I feel right now. But what you can rest assured is that you'll get on the other side very shortly, and there's a really big victory happening, and a really, you know, you are Phoenix from the ashes coming forward in a very powerful way. So just sit tight, let the tower fall, go through the birthing canal. Victory is all over the outcome. You know, there's also a sense of little unrest, but it recognizes that, and ultimately I think this is the turning of the tides. You know, the moon affects the tides, right? So, because now we've got the Page of Wands, and then we've got the Three of Wands, and some much needed rest with the Four of Swords, and then the Lover's card. Okay, let's talk about that. Lover's card is Gemini energy. For some of you that will resonate, we've got a lot of fire here representing, so Aries, Leo, Sagittarius might be representing for some of you, and then we've got air here as well, but you know, I don't think in a way that's strong enough to mention, but just for the heck of it, it's you know, your air signs, you know, your air signs, Aquarius, Gemini, Libra, sorry, just totally blinked out on that first one. Aquarius, Gemini, Libra, we're just around the corner for Aquarius right now, aren't we? So, let's just factor it in that way. This may be happening in Aquarius season, where you finally get an opportunity to retreat and take a rest. Four of Swords is about retreat or resort, really. Being able to step back from the battle and rest and recuperate and count your blessings, and so this is clarifying your outcome is that's on the horizon for you, or a need to take a step back and rest and recuperate, because you've got messages of great passion and adventure coming your way. In this Page of Wands card, this becomes your energy. So. And it inspires an expansion period. So this is, I mean, obviously, right? Three of Wands is a card of expansion. It's about, reaching the boundary and then having it occur to you to keep going, moving past your boundary. And in a way that, means that you've come a long way. You've come such a long way. This is confirmation. You can't expand until you hit the boundary. And here you are, and you forged past it with lots and lots of, with great force. And then the Lover's card implies that there's a union here potentially. So this has got a couple different meanings. There's a union, it's major arcana, so it could be soul contract, soulmate. For those of you who subscribe to that, and otherwise really deep bonds and connections, or connection with somebody. And for those of you who are looking to start a family, that's going to be an indication of you being able to get on that path, to start making that a reality for you. And for others of you, this also means contracts, like signing contracts. Like the expansion leads to a great level up, one way or the other, however you just define it. How it's going to be different for everybody. For some of you, it is going to mean like the love of your life. That's what your great mission is to find your love of the love of your life and make a family, and it sounds so crude, create a family, and then for others of you, it's like to go into a partnership, and professionally expand and sign on with a big deal gig, one way or the other, or project. The Lovers sort of continues on with that sort of Judgment Day feel to me, with the Archangel above the Lovers there. It's sort of like, and they lived happily ever after, truly, in a lot of ways. And I think this is a wonderful way to end your reading, Scorpio, because, I feel it. I do feel like, what's all over the table here is this sense, this great sense of discomfort and confusion even, and frustration. And it's that, it's the darkest before dawn, as they say. And it's because you're in the birthing canal. It's because you're the phoenix. You're burning up at the moment, but you will rise from the ashes quite quickly, and in a way that's very fierce and powerful, and immediately get on the road to great expansion, seeing through your life's calling, and expanding past the boundary in a way that's super adventurous, and the tide is turning this whole time. That's what you're feeling. It's the turning of the tide, and all the while, everything in your immediate midst stays in balance. So don't worry. All right, Scorpio, I'm going to end it there for you. If this reading resonated with you, wow, way to go. But truly hit the like button, the thumbs up there, subscribe, and drop a comment if you are so moved. I hope to see you at the next one. And until then, I'm sending you my love and light. All right, bye for now.